Hi everybody and welcome to PinkyTech. I'm Joe, and Intel has released today in the United States anyway, apparently they've been available elsewhere for a little bit, its 11th gen Intel processors. So, should you buy it? Are they a good deal? Yada yada yada. Let's discuss. Alright, so Intel has launched its 11th gen processors, and specifically the 11900, the 11700, and the 11600 here in the United States. Before you could get some of these chips, but you'd have to buy them in Europe, then get them shipped and stuff like that. So officially for the US today is the launch date. And I've been looking at the benchmarks, and quite frankly, I'm just not impressed. The 11th gen is a small uplift in performance compared to its 10th gen counterparts, but the pricing is a lot more expensive. And so I'll give you an example. The 11600K versus the 10600K, you're talking the 11th gen is not really that much faster. I think on paper it's 100 megahertz faster, but the chip is about $70 more expensive. So it's not looking very good. On top of that, when you look at power numbers, and this goes for all the 11th gen ones, they're really a lot more power hungry than their 10th gen counterparts. And so looking at it, they might perform a little bit better in some scenarios, but price wise and power wise, you're paying through the nose for the price, and the power, it just takes more power to run these chips. So from a pricing standpoint and even a generational upgrade over 10th gen, I just can't recommend these chips. In addition to that, for the 11900 series, they actually dropped that to an 8-core 16-thread to compete directly with the Ryzen 7 8-core 16-thread chips, and they shouldn't have done that. When you take a look at benchmarks, the 11700 or the 10900, I apologize, is actually getting beat in a lot of instances by the 5800X, and that kind of goes across the board, across the SKUs and everything else. It's just not a good look. They dropped off 2 cores off of their i9 processors, and they didn't really have the core clocks to go up against the AMD chips. The AMD chips are outperforming them. The 10th gen chips are cheaper than them. And so where does that leave 11th gen? It leaves it too late to the party, in my opinion. So I think the 11th gen chips could have worked if they were a bit cheaper, and well, if they would have been to market earlier. And I'll explain why. So when you take a look now at specifically the 5800X, because that is what competes with the 11900, the 5800X now is in stock pretty much everywhere at MSRP. And yeah, it may not be global stock, you know, in the hundreds of units available like there used to be in the past, but I checked Newegg, I checked Micro Center, I checked Amazon, and I checked Best Buy. They all, at the time of recording this, had 5800X chips available. The 11900 are actually already sold out on Newegg, and I apologize I didn't go check the other sites to compare, but essentially you can get a 5800, and in a world where you can get a 5800X for $449 or $480, you know, somewhere in that price range, somewhere pretty close to MSRP, if not MSRP direct, and the 11900 is priced at over $600, makes it really difficult to actually purchase that chip. When you look at the 11600, when you can get a 5600, it's only about $20 cheaper to get an 11600, but the performance isn't as good as the 5600. So in a world where you have an 11600, which is very power hungry, at $269, but you have a 5600 at $299, there's not enough performance difference, or there wasn't enough performance push from Intel to make you want to save that extra $20 and not choose the 5600X. And this is pretty much the story all the way up and down the stack for 11th gen. So would I recommend 11th gen Intel for performance? No, I wouldn't. Would I recommend 11th gen Intel for price? Again, no, I wouldn't. Would I recommend upgrading to 11th gen instead of 10th gen? I can't even do that, because we've now got a 10th gen. The 10600 is actually about $60 cheaper than the 11th gen. So there's just no good spot for Intel in this. If you're looking at 11th gen, it has to be because it's the only thing in stock. And right now there are plenty of 10th gen processors. There's plenty of 5000 series AMD processors for you to get your hands on that just make 11th gen not make a whole lot of sense. So there you go, 11th gen in a nutshell. It was something Intel had to do because they had to put something out to the market. but they're stuck between 10 and 14 nanometer and just very marginal increases in performance. So they're at where they're at this point. Hopefully next generation looks a bit better, but we'll have to wait and see, especially with what AMD may have up their sleeve by the time that comes around. So guys, let me know what you thought about the 11th gen coverage here. It's a summary of all the benchmarks, but pretty much it's falling flat across the board. If you liked the video, make sure you give it a like. Let me know your thoughts on the release of 11th gen down in the comment section below. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. And as always guys, I appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.